Hello and welcome to the next webinar in our how-to series from the TPS Southern Region. Today I'm going to talk about how you can create an album of primary sources in the TPS Teachers Network and share it with other people. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get to the TPS Teachers Network to begin with. You can put tpsteachersnetwork.org into your browser bar. We do have a link to it from our website, the Southern Region. If you go to the Resources and Tools page and you scroll down to the Library Congress resources, you can see that the third box here is a link to the TPS Teachers Network. And if you're not already a member of that, then you can easily create a free account and start joining groups and sharing materials and commenting on really cool posts with ideas for using things in the classroom as well as outside the classroom in your communities. So I've already logged in. So this is my home page on the network. So if I want to create an album, which I'm going to do today from scratch, I just go to albums and go to create album. That's one way. But I actually want to create this within a group. So first I'm going to go to that group. And of course, the group that I want to create this in is the Southern Region group. So once I get to the TPS Southern Region group page, which is here, then I can add an album just by clicking this button right here. So here I go. And my album is going to be a primary source set focusing on the topic of the World War II home front in the United States. So, what were some of the experiences that people had in the US during World War II while our soldiers were fighting abroad? And I'm going to concentrate on a lot of the experiences in southern states because we are the southern region. So I am going to put my title in first, World War II Home Front in the Southern Region. And then I'm going to add in my album description kind of what I just said, which I'm going to just to add later and go back. And you can create a lot of tags. So if you want to tag specific state TPS groups or other kinds of groups within the network, you can do it that way. Or subject matter, for instance, I can do grade levels. I'm going to put the social studies history. I'm also going to put in World War II because I think that's relevant and any other tags that you think will help it kind of reach larger audiences in the network. So I am going to make it a collaborative album by doing nothing and leaving this yes button marked. That way, any of you who are part of this group can also add to this album. So here we go, add album. And it was saved. So if I go to the albums page, which I think it was already on, you can see that we already have three of them, and I'm going to go to this one and add things to it. So within this, I'm going to add media. Now, I already have some specific primary sources picked out because I don't have time to show you how to search for them on the Library of Congress in this video. So we're going to start off with a newspaper, a page from a newspaper from December 8th, 1941, and I think you can guess what it is going to be. And this is a page from the Atlanta Daily World, which was an African American newspaper that started at this time. And because I searched on the terms Pearl Harbor, those little red bars that you see highlighted are going to point you to the article that talks about Pearl Harbor. And so I am going to keep the URL that has that search term in it that's at the top in the browser bar and just copy that. And then I'm going to go back to my album and put it in the insert URL here and just click add media. And that should, it gives you a choice of what size JPEG you want. I'm just going to pick the middle one. And then you can put in the teaching notes, like if you want to put a question that helps people analyze the primary source at hand, you can do that. Or if you want kind of instructions on where to zero in on the page. And so there's a lot of really great places to kind of, enhance that. And then I'm just going to put upload media. And it tells me when it was successfully saved. So I love that kind of feedback that it creates. And this is what shows up in the album. Now I'm going to add, let's say I wanted to add not the whole page of the newspaper, but just a clipping. That is when I would have to make the clipping of this newspaper. And so I would do that by doing my scissors icon in the top right hand corner and creating maybe that kind of box and doing clip image. Now, you don't want to use the URL here. You would want to download the image. Actually, I want to download it in a larger size. There we go. And then, so that would just mean saving it to my desktop, maybe. I'm going to write Pearl Harbor image. And then if I want to upload that, I can just choose the file straight out of here and go to my desktop, find the Pearl Harbor image, and now I can add the media that way. And same thing, I can include a link to maybe the newspaper page where I found it, any kind of teaching notes or reference notes, and then upload that to the album and keep going. So albums are great when they have pictures, right? So let's find a good picture to add to this album. And of course, in Tennessee, we love all of the images that the Library of Congress has from the Vultee Nashville Aircraft Corporation, which are kind of what we call the Rosie the Riveter pictures of a lot of women who are working in factories. And they have a lot of really great color photos too that are make a really graphic, striking image. So I like this one. And I am going to just click the URL and add that to the album in insert link here. And it's on the largest JPEG, so I'm going to leave it there so it shows up best. And that should be added. I'm going to get my little note that it was successfully saved. And I'm going to add some more media. Now, I'm also going to add a poster because that's another great way to use graphic media to have students kind of analyze maybe some propaganda from the war posters and how that's depicted and what the messaging is like for the public during this time. And I particularly like this one, Share the Meat. This is all about meat rationing on the home front because that's just part of what everybody was expected to do as part of the war effort. So I'm going to insert that link and add my media. And normally on this album, I would add a lot more data and, description within these boxes and tags and things like that. But for the sake of brevity for this video, I'm going to go back and just fill that in later. All right. And so let's say that you wanted to use a non-Library of Congress primary source. How would you add that to the album? Well, you can add it the exact same way. And so I was looking through the Historic New Orleans Collections website, which is fantastic, and I found this letter to the famous Antoine's Restaurant from the chief air raid warden, and it's notifying them that they left a light on during a blackout period. And he's going to give them the benefit of the doubt that, oh, maybe they didn't mean to do it. Maybe it was on accident, but next time, please follow the rules. And New Orleans was on some blackout because there were German submarines in the Gulf. And so I would use the URL here, copy it, and paste it into here. And I hope that shows up the same way. And I would have to add the title, so I'm just going to say letter to Antoine's from Air Raid Warden. And that's a great story, so I might want to go back later and add that into the description. And that is not showing up in the same way. I don't see a thumbnail of it, but there is the link that'll take you there. So hopefully that will work just as well. Now, let's say you want to add a video to this album. And so we actually have some videos. I'm going to go to our YouTube page, and by YouTube I mean when we were called Teaching Primary Sources MTSU. And we created videos that went along with our Homefront in Tennessee curriculum unit. And so they're short and have different partners across our state talking about some of the different experiences on the home front. And there's one, this one, the World War II home front in Tennessee. This is, excuse me, the World War II home front maneuvers were, they used Tennessee to have top secret Army training because they thought the terrain looked similar to what these soldiers were going to encounter once they got to Europe. And so I'm going to insert that link right there and add it. And hopefully that will come up as a video that you should be able to watch straight from the album. Video successfully saved. Great. So now let's see what this looks like. Back to album. World War II home front in the southern region. And this is what the album looks like with the very first 6 sources. And let me make sure that when I click on the letter to Antoine's, it shows up. Okay, let's try that again. Yes, it does. So you just have to kind of click twice there. And that's it. And you can download the album, you can comment on it, you can share it. They have a shareable URL down at the very bottom. And like I said, it's open for you all to add to it if you'd like. So that's just an example of creating an album within the network. And so hopefully you'll feel comfortable enough to do that on your own and then share it with us. I'd love to see them. All right, thanks.